Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the Halftime Talk feature interview series. We're delighted today to be joined by engineer Aziz Balooshi, Chief Executive Officer of Fujairah Terminals at the Abu Dhabi Ports Group. Mr. Balooshi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you to you, Diala, and you're most welcome. It's my pleasure to be on board with you.
Fantastic. Well, Mr. Balooshi, it doesn't take me to tell our audience here that there's a lot of dynamics in the market today, and Fujairah Port and Terminals is at the heart of that, being an established hub for energy trading and with very ambitious sort of growth plans for its terminals business and indeed other projects happening at the port. So just let's start by if you can give us an overview or outlook for you in terms of the ambition or vision for Fujairah Port in terms of expanding its infrastructure and terminals business and what the sort of key targets are, let's say.
Thank you, Diala, for the question. For the benefit of global, regional, and local trade, constant planning, expansion, and infrastructure development are required to handle growth and growing in cargo volumes. As the volumes arise, the infrastructure must keep up with that pace. So there is a direct correlation between the growth of the trade and well-developed infrastructure. For that purpose, industry stakeholder, public authorities must cooperate to ensure the smooth flow of the international cargo shipment and as well the local, or let's say the regional. At AD Ports Group, we are firm believer that growing our infrastructure will help in offering solutions to our various customers. There are constant expansion plans, development plans to serve the group strategy. For Fujairah in particular, Fujairah Terminal and Fujairah Port, the most notable development plans are in Fujairah Terminal, expansion of the terminal general cargo capacity from 700 to 1.3 million ton, container capacity up to 720,000 TEU, which is supported by dedicated terminal area up to 200,000 square meters. We have enhanced our quay wall. We extended to 1,000 meters. We increased our draft to 15 meters to accommodate larger vessels. Connecting today Fujairah to Etihad Rail is an accomplishment. It will soon operate in the last quarter to move the container traffic and other traffic, inshallah, by the Q3 2023. We have as well cruise operation, which will be doubled in the next season. We received 20,000 passengers. Our expectation is to receive more. This is overall the developments that Fujairah is witnessing, Fujairah Terminal, and more are to come.
That's a fantastic overview. Thank you so much, Mr. Balooshi, for that. Let's delve a little bit into the details now. Part and parcel of any business within the trading route, within the oil and gas, and Fujairah, of course, manages and handles a lot of fuel-based businesses. Of course, the word sustainability runs, throughout the sector. Let's say from shipping to ports to logistics and actual fuels, obviously that are transported through such terminals. How important is that consideration when Fujairah Terminals and the Abu Dhabi Ports Group indeed are looking to make these expansion investments that you've just mentioned, many of, and how can the terminals best prepare for the sort of changing landscape of these sort of transitionary profiles?
Thank you once again, Diala, for the question. A sustainable brand comprises of successful integration of the environmental, economic, social issues into the business model and operational activities. Such position will help in confirming that the business purpose with all stakeholders and adhering to the sustainable development agenda that will ultimately enhance positive corporate reputation. And AD Ports, as a group, sustainability strategy aligns with the local, global sustainable development agenda, and we are always committed to sustainability. It's guided by frameworks such as UN Global Compact, Sustainable Development Goals, and Paris Agreement on climate change. Also, we are committed to driving sound financially, socially, and environmentally responsible operations. We have a long list of sustainable cases study, such as the construction of the first highly energy efficient building, which will be fully powered by renewable energy sources and will further benefit from carbon offset at Khalifa Port. This is a first pilot, and we are looking to roll it out across our asset. With the fewer than 500 net zero commercial buildings in the world, AD Ports' first net zero carbon building will be represented, a major milestone for the company and for the UAE. It will be one of the company's first project to use significant amount of concrete with recycled content, save equivalent of 38,000 metric ton of carbon dioxide over 30 years. So this is one of the initiatives, and we'll continue with more initiatives within the group, whether it's in the shipping, in our asset on the land assets, even in building sustainable asset in the future when it comes to maritime assets. Sustainability is a measure can be incorporated into construction process, long-term benefits of building the net zero carbon. This administrative building, the CMA Terminal Khalifa Port, it will be significant and will create opportunity for a deport group to offer a green business model for future tenants and our future plans.
Okay, I mean, part of that green business, obviously, model one technology out there is obviously green hydrogen, cleaner fuels such as LNG versus obviously oil-based fuels. Again, something that the terminals are preparing to expand investment to. What, you know, I suppose what is the speed at which, you know, a port like Fujairah can sort of transition, if you like, its terminals to those newer fuels? LNG is not a new fuel, but certainly the transport of it around in terms of bunker fuel, for example, that's being discussed. How does Abu Dhabi Ports approach this? Let's retain our established conventional businesses which are needed every day, every hour, and, you know, let's keep an eye on what we need to keep investing in into the future.
Let me give you just a glimpse of where are we today from these energy initiatives, let's say. In order to evolve towards the climate neutral economy, our energy supply will have to shift to primary use of sustainable sources. However, this transition is not a matter of renewable only. It has to be integrated approach for the industry, in the shipping, in the logistics. It requires innovative solution to heating, transport, feedstock challenges as well. So all renewables are produced on a large scale, and alternative sources such as hydrogen are imported and converted into sustainable chemical building blocks. There is a great necessity for a solid and flexible energy system that complement local production on the green energy with the import of renewable products. Hydrogen, for us, Abu Dhabi Ports Group offers the answer by allowing long-distance transport of large volume exactly where and when consumer need it. Hydrogen would allow energy distribution across sectors and regions. It could serve as renewable feedstock, improve system resilience, and help decarbonize transportation and industrial energy use. Hydrogen needs to be decarbonized. We understand that. In order to do so, we need full capacity of worldwide renewable energy production. We must fully commit to innovation innovative solution to demonstrate
Mm.
united forces of ambitious partners in the field of energy, in the industry, in the shipping, and all our sectors.
Okay, and why do you think the UAE, for example, holds a particular advantage over, let's say, the Oman with its port plans as well, and other places in the region that clearly have geographic advantages as well? What do you think distinguishes the UAE in terms of advancing more quickly on these new solutions and growth?
UAE, we are always in the lead. We've always been known to be in the lead. So in
That's a
2021,
good point.
yeah, the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, IPCC, declared Code Red of Global Climate Change, deeming it critical to accelerate the shift to low carbon energy sources as fast as possible to avoid catastrophes. You've seen what's happened in Libya, you've seen it happen in different places of the world. So this becomes essential. This is especially topical since COP28 is coming in UAE. It's around the corner. Like the rest of the world, the Middle East is not immune to impact of global warming, but we witness something different today. I keep repeat, Libya is ideal scenario. This is certainly alarming. However, it is also an indication for introducing a new industry like renewable energy and hydrogen, and this is opportunity. Here in United Arab Emirates, the government is well aware of the serious implication of the climate changes and has already taken tangible steps to manage this situation. As a signatory of Paris Climate Agreement, it has already made significant policy intervention, including setting a net zero target by 2050, developing UAE energy strategy by 2050, which has set clear target for diversifying the country energy mix. This will transform the conventional energy powerhouse to a renewable energy hotspot for UAE.
Okay, great. And yeah, and I mean, let me just stop you there. And I mean, part and parcel of all of this advancement, investment, towards the future, is also, obviously, risk assessment on logistics, on port operations, on terminal operations, marine assurance. That's a big topic these days, because not just because of the evolving physical infrastructure landscape, but because we have this data accessibility now, technology helping us to use data to refine our efficiencies, etc., operational efficiency of the terminal. Can you talk a little bit about the technology side of I mean, not getting too technical, but how important do you think advances in data analytics, etc., have helped the port and the terminals in their logistics and their efficiencies and safety, in risk assessment, if you like? Is that playing a big part, or is that into the future?
I mean, talking about risk assessment, we have, and part of our sustainable policy, we have continuously looked at reviewing our risks, looking into the future impact. Like, for example, if I may say, today there are trucking in the roads. Yeah, the government of UAE have established the rail network, which is something sustainable for the whole UAE. This is something that heads up of the whole UAE to plan for sustainable logistic solution for the whole UAE. Of course, we have many developments which are in the pipeline to serve sustainability. The government is well aware of this, and we have prepared a hydrogen leadership roadmap to target this as a group and part of the bigger picture as a roadmap for UAE. We have our partner in Mubadala, ADNOC, Taqa, Masdar, others. We are building this hydrogen ecosystem to involve the connection of solar energy facility at Kizat, for example, which will power hydrogen facility. So this is a bigger initiative that we are today planning for the future. It's important to understand that ports will play an increasingly pivotal role as they will contain and transport these materials. So it will be a bigger role for us to do so overseas. And we are building these capabilities within our port infrastructure, and specifically in Khalifa Port, in the future as well in Fujairah terminal. We are prepared for a stable and reliable transportation of these products. It's very important to give the market assurance of what we are doing in terms of sustainability and future roadmap in the hydrogen leadership.
Of course. And I mean, and hydrogen and beyond that, really. And you mentioned how the UAE is ahead in so many things, but of course, and you mentioned that ports are going to play an increasingly important role in transporting these new fuels, etc. Mr. Balooshi, perhaps just to wrap up, just to ask you, how important do you think it is that there are standardized directives or standardized standards, if you like, for one word, across ports, across geographies? Is that important for, you know, different regions or even ports within the region to meet, to get together, to agree on standards going forward for all of this to come back as an advantage for regional trade at the end of the day? You know, we have the IMO 2020 directive that was obviously applied globally. It was picked up quite well, but there was always concern by ports, by shipping companies that, you know, this is a continuously evolving, and also how do you monitor such a directive?
I mean, as I mentioned, UAE is always, we are advanced when it comes to adopt a new regulation, global regulation when it comes to sustainable shipping, sustainable port operation, etc. We are, for example, involved and engaged as a group from the group level CEO and cascaded down to local and international ports that we are operating. We are mandated and committed to sustainability. We roll out our policies, which is aligned by national and international IMO regulations, phasing out, for example, old vessels, which will be in enforcement soon with the new sustainable vessels that has to come into the market.
Yeah.
All these things, Abu Dhabi Ports as a group is very committed when it comes to sustainability, and we review our risks if it affects our group, our growth, and our image in the market. So we are well aligned when it comes to international regulations and local regulation, where UAE in particular and Abu Dhabi in particular is very concerned when it comes to the environment. We have a very much initiatives when it comes to environment. We have spent a huge capital today to preserve the environment in Abu Dhabi. We have the coral reef. We have too many initiatives, as I mentioned, hydrogen transportation. So you can name it, inshallah, in the future. It's part of our pipeline strategies as well.
Well, Abdul Balooshi, Chief Executive Officer for Fujairah Terminals at the Abu Dhabi Ports Group. Thank you so much today for joining us on Halftime Talk. It's been very interesting getting your insight on the future of terminals and logistics and all that involves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diala. It's a pleasure to have this interview with you, and hope we do much more in the future together. Thank you very much.